Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is. I hope that you are having an amazing, epic day. I hope you are manifesting some awesome things like being abundant, being creative, pulling in some epic stuff, what we all are trying to do. So today I want to talk about desire and what we want and how to shift that feeling of just desiring it. Shifting your thoughts to kind of pull it in more consciously and to make it manifest faster, because who wouldn't want that? So when it comes to desiring things, when it comes to wanting to pull things into our lives, when it comes to wanting to create things, we're always going to have a desire. And we're going to keep desiring things. We're going to keep wanting things. We're going to keep expanding. We are the universe in motion. We are always expanding. We are always going to have things that we're going to want to pull in. It could be big things, it can be small things, they can be things easily pulled in, they can be things that maybe take a little bit more time. But it is really important to remember when it comes to desiring, wanting, you're always going to desire something, you're always going to want something, and you do have the capabilities of anything that you want to have. That's the biggest thing, is shift your belief from being so apart from the things that you want to desire and kind of move into a place where that is a possibility, that is something that you can have. And when you think of the things that you want, if you remind yourself that yes, these things that you desire you can have, these things that you want to experience you can have, and you can have them over and over again, and you can have them in an infinite amount of ways, and there's no specific way of how it has to come in, that's really good thinking to start moving in a more positive direction towards anything that you want in general, because we're all trying to, create and manifest some epic things. So to shift that wanting energy, that I really want this relationship, I really want that new house, I really want this job, try shifting it from a want to a possibility. I could have that job. I could have that relationship. I can have this really amazing day. And that's a big one. Seeing it as a possibility, like I said before, that's a big deal. When you do that, that's a big part of kind of getting over the hump of not having something, is believing that it's possible. Because I think for a lot of us, we think that with our desires, we maybe don't think of it as a possibility. And that's the biggest thing that's going to block you. If you don't see it as possible, you can't pull it in. You won't be able to manifest it. So see it as a possibility, because like I've talked about with parallel realities, there are an infinite number of ways that things can come into your lives. There are an infinite number of people, of situations, of variations of different things, of things that can just come in, of things that can happen, of things that will unfold. It is infinite. And that's exciting. Let that excite you, because it means that's why everything is possible. That's why we can have everything that we want. That's why, and even if you don't get it one time, what you want right away, it doesn't mean you can't get it further down the line. It doesn't mean you can't get it next week or next month. Good morning, Stephanie. So glad to see that you are on this. So yeah, see these desires, these wants as a possibility, and know that it's going to play out kind of feeding off of your vibration. And when you get stuck thinking something's not a possibility, like I said, that's what's going to block you. So if you don't see physical evidence right away of the desires that you have becoming manifest, don't panic, because your reality's got to catch up to you a little bit. You have been, vibrating at a certain frequency for so long, and that's why your reality is what it is. So when you change it, sometimes your reality has to catch up. There might be a little bit of buffer time. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just stay consistent in knowing that you can have anything that you want, knowing that everything is a possibility, and knowing that it can play out in an infinite number of ways. It's also important to remember that it's going to start with your feeling. It's going to start with your vibration. That's the most important thing. We attract what we are, not what we want. And I don't know if any of you guys have read any Neville Goddard, but if you haven't, I suggest that you do, because it's very inspirational. But one of his biggest things is to, dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And when you do that, when you get yourself into that feeling of how you would feel once something has been manifested, that you're matching up with the frequency, you're aligning with it. And when you make that your like a dominant vibration, the universe will have no choice but to throw it into your life. Like it's going to be fast, it's going to be awesome, it's going to feel great. And like I said, it starts with you. You have this power to give yourself whatever you want. Remember that. And that's exciting, and that's great. And step into that power, step into that knowing, because we're all here, you know, manifesting, creating consciously, or trying to create consciously. So knowing that you have all the power to give yourself exactly what you want is a big deal. And I encourage everybody to kind of step up into that, because that's another big step in consciously creating, in manifesting, is believing in yourself, believing in your power, believing that, you know, what you think and feel and project is what you are going to have reflected back to you. And like I said, that's awesome. That's exciting. So let your feeling and vibration, like I said, be in how you would feel once this thing has manifested. So if you can get to the core feelings of what you are looking for in your desire, it may be love, it may be happiness, it may be a feeling of excitement. See how many different ways you can implement those feelings into your everyday life already. And it doesn't have to be because of that certain thing. It doesn't have to be because of that possibility. There are probably things in your life now that make you happy and excited and feel loved. Focus on those. Do those. And when you're in those moments, bask in them, because it amplifies that energy. There's nothing better, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but there is nothing better than basking in like that empowered, loving, like excited energy. And like that's the energy that I usually feel like after I meditate, after I do these videos. And when you hang on to it, and when you like milk it, and when you let yourself be there, and when you let yourself like share it with other people, it expands, it amplifies. And being in that, you know, end game kind of feeling is how these things will be made manifest. You're making it your norm, and making those feelings like normal to you, and making them, you know, like a logical thing for you to feel all the time. That's when like the things that you're trying to pull in, and then other things as well, will start to come in to your reality. And you'll probably develop more wants, more desires, more things that you're trying to manifest. So have fun with it. Have fun with every day. If you just look for anything in general to like make you feel like you're having fun, and make you feel good, and make you feel happy, and like make you laugh or smile, regardless of what you're trying to pull in, like those feelings are generally what we are looking for. So do what you can to feel those feelings, because that's how stuff's gonna start moving in for you. Hopefully that all makes sense. So don't be afraid of your desires. Don't be end of the winning game kind of feeling. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I love that, like end game winning feeling. So don't be afraid of your desires. Don't be afraid of like wanting new things. Be excited about it, because that thought, when it comes into your head, it means that you have been on a vibrational alignment in some way. It would not formulate as a thought in your mind if it wasn't something that you were already, you know, coming closer to. So the fact that you are thinking of this thing that you want, this thing you desire, is a great step. It means that you can have it. Anything that you think of, you can have. Anything that you desire, you can have. And I guess that's the point of this video, is to remind you guys that, and to help you guys feel like you can have these things, because you can. I don't know about you guys, but the days where I feel like I can have it all, and like that I'm just kind of basking in that like possibility of everything unfolding in a really awesome, epic, like exciting way, without needing it to like unfold in a certain way, those days are the best days that I have. And there are days where maybe I am trying to get specific things, and I did this a lot when I was younger, when I was trying to manifest things, that I would kind of like play it out in my mind, and I'd want it to go a certain way, and when it didn't do that, because there are an infinite number of ways of how things will play out, I would get so mad at myself because it meant that I wasn't manifesting it. It meant that I wasn't on track and that I couldn't do it, and that's not true. So definitely let go of how things need to happen and just dwell in what is happening and how you're feeling and how it's unfolding, because that's like how to kind of sidestep accidentally blocking yourself. That's what I found anyway. So hopefully this video has helped you guys and inspired you guys. Good morning, Tamana. I'm fantastic. I hope you are doing well. What do I have to say about it gets worse before getting better when it comes to your desires to manifest? That's a really good question. So it gets worse before it gets better. This doesn't always happen. If that's your belief, then yes, that will be something that you kind of have set into place for yourself to experience. So I know that with a lot of like injuries or illnesses, people will say it gets worse before it gets better. Like you're gonna feel that pain or you're gonna get sicker before you start to get better. And again, I believe that it's a belief that if you have that in place and you do like have faith that something is going to get worse before you start to see good results, then that's what you're going to experience. But you don't have to. If you just want things to get better, then they will. Sometimes you may have to, kind of deal with what has shifted and what you may have put into place in the not most positive ways. You may have to deal with like an aftermath of like negative momentum that you've had. So you may have had like kind of a rough day, and then you put a lot of like negative energy out there, and as the day goes on it kind of feels like it gets worse, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's really what you're focusing on. It's really what you are allowing to kind of take up that energy in your vibration in your mind. I believe that's my opinion on it, but that is a really good question. If you want things to just get better, then allow yourself to feel like things are getting better, and that's how they're going to start moving. And if you want to feel the contrast longer for whatever reason, if you want to, hang on to it, learn from it, figure out what you are learning from the contrast, what's being reflected back to you so you don't go through that situation again, then do that. But I don't think that it has to get worse before it gets better. I think that it can again, going general, like I've always said, you're not going to be able to go from feeling like crap to feeling amazing. It's pretty hard. You got to take steps, but you don't have to go like backwards in order to move forwards. So, definitely don't get stuck on that. I'm happy that made sense to you. And how do I deal with contrast? I deal with contrast in a few different ways. If I'm feeling like intense contrast, I go to bed. I go to sleep. I've had to do it. In extreme circumstances, that's what I do, because I want to stop that vibration. I really want to stop that momentum. And then when I wake up, I'm ready to start over. And if you go to sleep and wake up and expect things to be exactly as they were when you went to bed, when you were unhappy, that's probably what is going to continue to happen. So when you wake up every morning, it's important to remember you're starting out new, you're starting out fresh. When you wake up from a nap, you're starting out new, you're starting out fresh, clean slate. Just get ready to move forward in the most positive ways for you. And so that's one way that I deal with contrast. Sometimes I just go to sleep. Sometimes I will shift my focus to breathing. One thing that I love to do when I'm feeling that like upstream energy feeling is I will look up funny videos, because laughter is my best way of starting to move up the vibrational scale. I'm not always happy. I'm not always like bubbly and positive, and sometimes I go through like the negative circumstances and the not ideal things and the contrast, and that's okay. I can't beat myself up over it. But one thing that I also make sure that I do is that I will try to leave the past in the past. And a lot of times, and this happens more with my relationships than circumstances, like if I get in an argument with like my little sister, because we work together and we have a fantastic relationship and I love her. But you know, sometimes family is working with family and sometimes we butt heads. But one thing that we do, or that I do, and she started doing it too, is, you know, we get in an argument, but then like 10 minutes later, we've just forgotten about it, because it's not worth the energy to hang on to that like contrasting experience when it was just like a little blip on the radar and it doesn't actually matter that much. And when it comes to that like relationship, I also, you know, I don't take the things that she says personally, because I know that they're coming from a multitude of different things in her life, and hopefully she doesn't take the things that I say personally, because, you know, they're just like projections in weird ways. And my little sister and I, like I said, we have a fantastic relationship, but she is someone who I will experience contrast with, because we are so close, because we're going to reflect, you know, things back from each other. And that's what I have to remind myself. And that's why when I, you know, move through it, I'm done with it. And I let it go and I let it stay where it was, because hanging on to it doesn't feel good. And hanging on to it kind of amplifies that like bad feeling, that contrast, that blech, and nobody wants to feel that. So hopefully that answers that dealing with contrast question. Another thing that I will do is meditate. Like I said, go back to breathing, just slow down, calm down, and listening to really good music and dancing is another one that I do to get over contrast, because I love to feel good, and dancing and singing and listening to Raspberry Beret by Prince is like, bam. If I do that, I'm out of feeling that negative energy for whatever reason. That song, dancing, singing to it, it's just, that's what it is for me. So find something that works for you and have a few different things, so when you are going through contrast, you can be like, all right, well, what makes me feel good? Oh, I can put this song on and I know I'm gonna feel awesome. Oh, I can put this video on and laugh a lot. All right, that's great. Or, all right, maybe I'll just meditate. And when you get out of it, when you get out of the contrast, don't hang on to it. It's like hanging on to like a hot potato. Burns your hand, makes you feel worse, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to feel bad. So hopefully this video has helped you, inspired you, made you feel better, made you feel more empowered, made you excited for what you are pulling in and what you desire and what you want, because you can have all of it. I'm really excited I got to do another live, because it's been a while since I've done like one on my own. So hopefully this helps you guys. And if you have any other topics that you want me to cover in a live video, in a video in general, please let me know, because I love to help you guys in any way that I can. Also, if you have any questions, comment below. If you have any, you know, advice that you need, like, let me know, let like people in this group know. This is such an amazing group, and I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys, because talking about this stuff and, you know, seeing everyone like manifesting awesome things and helping each other and stuff like that, it's just, it's part of one of my favorite things of the day. So I love you guys. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope you're all creating amazing things. I love you guys. Love and light.